from Alabama.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You made the point that the 2010 census was fairly accurate. Here I'm Director Santos. Appreciate you being here, by the way. What I would like to know is, this is somewhat out of character for our census. They're never perfect, but they're generally pretty reliable, except for the 2020 census. So what I'd like to know is how much of the survey is based on actual direct contacts versus estimates?
I don't understand the question. Can you repeat it one more time so I can?
Okay, I'm not going to allow you to filibuster me.
No, I want to answer you.
This is a very direct question. How much of the census survey was based on direct contacts or estimates versus estimates? Was it 80% direct contacts? Was it 10% direct contacts? Do you know that?
We will have to take that as a question for a record, but allow me to simply say that direct contact, if somebody responds to an online, that is a direct contact.
I'm trying to determine how much is of the census in 2020 was based on estimates.
Okay. You're talking about the 2020 census?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Congressman. The estimates, and you may be referring to.
No, you're filibustering. It's a simple question, and I'm going to assume that a substantial part of it was based on estimates. Okay. If it's based on estimates, then who does the estimate? Who's responsible for doing the estimates? Is it a group of individuals, one individual? How's that done?
Well, to answer your
now
first...
give me a direct answer. I worked in engineering. I understand direct answers. I ask you a direct question. Give me a direct answer. Is it one individual? Is it a group of individuals? Who does the estimates?
We will get back to you as a
I'm not
question of
asking
record.
for names. I'm just asking.
I don't, if
Okay.
I knew the exact number,
Here's what I want to know. If it's based on estimates, when you do estimates, you have a basis for the estimate, documentation. Will you produce the documentation for the estimates?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, he has agreed to do that. I would appreciate if you do that before the end of the year. That would be very helpful. And I assume that you maintain these files for full documentation of these estimates. If you're using estimates, and we've always used estimates, I mean, that's been a part of the, how is it that the estimate undercounts were predominantly in the red states with only one exception? Because when you're using estimates, if you're making mistakes, it should be broadly dispersed without regard of the geographic location of the state. So how is it, if you were doing estimates, that it was disproportionately red states that were undercounted?
Thank you for the detailed question, Congressman. I am not familiar with the statistics.
You're a statistician, though. I look.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, statistically, when you have that significant an anomaly, how do you explain that?
Well, there are 50 states.
I know, but and that's the point. There's 14 states where the counts were inaccurate. The ones that had the undercounts are disproportionately red states. That statistically is an anomaly. You should know that. So how do you have, this is why it's so important, and I am counting on accurate information on the basis for these estimates. That when you overcount New York by almost 700,000 people, and you undercount other states, that is very problematic from a statistical perspective. So how do you explain it?
Well, thank you.
I know you're not thanking me for the question. You're filibustering. Give me an answer.
Random processes, if you take the 50 states and you randomly assign 14.
It's not a random process when you have a statistical anomaly like we see here.
All possibilities can occur in a random assignment of 14 to 50 states, including the one that was currently realized.
Are you going to tell me that the people who were responsible for the estimates in the red states were incompetent? Their data was flawed. Mr. Chairman, I am not satisfied with the responses that I've gotten from the director. I think we may need to follow up on this. I am very anxious to see what they provide us in terms of the verification, validation basis for how they did these estimates, because I think it is problematic just on a statistical perspective, and he knows that. I yield back.
Congressman, we would be more than happy to provide you and your staff and the committee with a full briefing on these. We are confident that the methodology was solid and that there are no anomalies.
Mr. Palmer will submit questions, and we do that. We say that at the end of the hearing. We'll submit questions and expect a response, and that response will be published in our final committee hearing report. So we'll make sure that we coordinate with that, Mr. Palmer. Thank you. Chair now recognizes Ms. Norton from Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Santos, thank you for being here today.